What's up, guys? We have this content creator called the Kenyan Loser, and he does a very good job at explaining a number of problems that we have in the Kenyan film industry. But as the common sense messiah, I believe I have a better, more nuanced explanation as to why these problems exist. But today we are going to address the whole problem with repetitive actors. Actors appearing in projects over and over the years. It's like we never have new actors. And this is what he had to say.
So for the last 24 hours, I've been seeing a general consensus on my comment section. Everybody is fucking sick and tired of the same old actors. Do not let any actor, any celebrity, try to guilt trap you into supporting them. It's not your responsibility to do that. It's their responsibility to earn your support. Because let's get one thing straight. Miss Emangavi, at this point, pali imefika, the only reason I watch Kenyan movies is because I love making fun of them. That's it. I don't enjoy them for the most part. They're shit, they're stupid, they're cringe. I have a Mount Rushmore of 5 actors that I will never recommend their movies because I'm sick and tired of fucking seeing them on my screen for all my years. Nikiona movie kona Sarah Hassan, Brenda Wairimu, Pascal Tokodi, Catherine Kamau, Blessing Lungalo. Fuck that movie. I'm not watching it because I am not obligated to watch it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not attacking you people because you're acting. I'm not attacking you people because that's your role. Because ukiambianga hivyo, the first thing wanaendaga kwa comments, we are actors. What do you expect us to do? That's our job. Nigga, fuck you. Your job is to entertain me. Your job is not to appear in movies.
Right. As you can see, he points out to the whole repetitiveness we see with actors. And before we get to the explanation of why this is, I would like us to differentiate acting in terms of two categories. We have actors who have excellent range, number one, and we have actors who have typecasted roles. Now, let's look at these two categories. Category number one, actors with range. We're going to use Hollywood. I want you to think of a person like, say, Leonardo DiCaprio. The character he plays in Titanic is very different from the character that he plays in The Wolf of Wall Street, which is very different from the character that he plays in Django Unchained. And those are just 3 movies. The guy has a whole myriad of roles that he has played in different movies in many years in his acting career. And for the most part, he delivers in every single character that he is given. Why? Because he has range. That's what we call range in an actor. The capacity to deliver in different roles, playing different characters, and every single time you get to deliver. And for the most part, what you notice with these actors is when you're watching them, you don't notice the actor, you notice the character. When you're watching Titanic, you don't notice it's Leonardo DiCaprio, you notice the character that he plays. When you're watching The Wolf of Wall Street, you don't notice this is Leonardo DiCaprio, you notice the character that he plays. The capacity for them to lose themselves into the actor. And these are the actors that also have the highest number of Oscars, because Oscars for the most of its history has been awarding good acting, right? Now, I want us to look at the other category of actors. These are actors who don't have range and they fall in the category of typecasted roles. Now, what is typecasting? Typecasting is when, say, you star in one movie that ends up making a lot of money. Maybe it's your breakout role, and every other director in future, when they write a character that is similar to the character that you played in that movie, automatically they think of you and they cast you for that project. And what ends up happening is you notice that throughout the years you have been playing characters that are very similar. So characters that don't require you to go out of your way to have some range. And when I'm talking about characters like this, I want you to think of, say, Jason Statham. Think of people like Sylvester Stallone. Even when you're going about comedic actors, think about Adam Sandler, think about Ben Stiller. When they play roles, they don't play roles that require them to go out of their comfort zone, that require them to put themselves in different situations. You can literally swap out one character of, Jason Statham in one movie and place them in another movie that he played, and the movie would still make sense. Why? Because he plays the exact same person in every movie. That's what we call typecasting. Now, back to our Kenyan film industry. Now, the Kenyan film industry suffers from a heavy. Now, this heavy is in bold and underlined and in heavy neon letters that are noticeable. An emphasized heavy. Kenya suffers from a heavy typecasting problem. And why does this exist? Because the writers and the directors are the problem, not the actors. The Kenyan loser went on to blame the actors, but the actors are actually very innocent. What ends up happening is the writers have limited the Kenyan experience to only 2 narratives, romance and crime. Now, when they're writing romantic stories, they don't even bother to go out of their way to write different types of romantic genres or subgenres of romance. It's always the same character trope. boy from the village, girl from a rich family, or boy from a rich family, girl from the village, and then there's maybe some sugar daddy who wants her somewhere, maybe a toxic ex who wants this person somewhere. So it's the similar character trope. And usually what happens is when writers write these types of narratives, they notice one thing in particular. When they're writing this role, they start thinking, okay, who am I going to cast for this particular role? And they think of the past. They see, okay, when was another romantic or lover boy character written? They notice the entire history, and they notice that, okay, this character, this person, like Pascal Tokodi, has been delivering in these roles every single time. And what will this writer do? They will ask the casting director and the director to call upon this actor. So when they are writing, they already have in mind who's going to play these roles. Why? Because their stories are repetitive as hell. So it's the writers that are the problem. Look at the crime genre. Usually, they play around with the same characters, the same people to play these actors. And when they're trying to make a shift, you might notice that maybe the guy who played a detective in this particular movie, in the next movie now he's the criminal, in the other movie maybe now he's the judge. So they're playing with the same characters, but revolving around the same genre. And the way they're written, it doesn't require that much range, because usually the detective is usually a criminal, but has the mind of a criminal, but is now in the legal side of things. So it's usually not that much. There's not that much depth in Kenyan writing, and that highlights the problem that we have. That highlights the issue at hand, because that is what limits our actors. Because over the years you will watch these actors thinking that they are very poor actors, but in most cases these actors are only limited to what the writers and the directors have brought forth to them and what they require of them. And usually what happens is it becomes so repetitive, and you tend to paint these actors in a negative light, thinking, okay, they don't have range. See, a person like Sarah Hassan, she has had a good number of movies, so she's played somewhat different roles, and she has shown the potential of having range, but provided she's in the Kenyan film scene, that range is never going to get explored. That's a problem. So now, am I saying that we don't have good actors in Kenya? No, 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 no. We have great actors. It's just the Kenyan writing limits them. Now, we do have actors that have range, however, but they are never put in the lead roles. They are always in support roles. And because the lead roles have such commanding presences and such star power, you barely notice these support characters and how well they do. Think of someone like Benteke. Benteke, for those of you who don't know, this is the guy who played the lawyer Odanga in Joro Auba. This guy has appeared in different projects over the years, and in every single one of them, he has different characters, totally different, nothing similar. And in each one of them, he delivers perfectly. But you never get to hear of him. Why? Because he doesn't get that many lead roles compared to the people that get the lead roles. The same repetitive nonsense. For him, he gets casted for different roles and delivers on each of them perfectly. He's the Gary Oldman of Kenya. He's the Leonardo DiCaprio of Kenya, right? And there are many actors like him. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not necessarily that the actors are bad or that they don't know how to act. They're just limited by Kenyan writing and Kenyan directing. If they had directors and writers who wrote narratives that would require them to go out of their way to explore their range, I believe they would deliver. So that's where I would disagree with the Kenyan loser. That being said, I hope you've learned something new, and I'll see you in the next one.